Thank you for tuning into this episode, everybody. Obviously, you guys clicked on this because you guys want to know the 3 best setups to catch steelhead. Now, quick disclaimer, these 3 are the ones I like to use. And if you guys have seen my channel, you know that I do catch quite a few steelhead. I'm not great, I'm not the best by any means, but I just want to give to you guys, the 3 setups. I'm going to throw in some tips and tricks and stuff like that. I've been asked quite a bit how I do it and how I catch so many fish, and so I'm not beating around the bush with you guys. These are the setups that I use. I mean, like, this is the only thing I use. Ada will verify for me. I literally do 3 things to catch all my fish. It doesn't need to get too complicated, but I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to give you my personal tips on how I catch steelhead. So on, the episode, what I really kind of plan on doing is I'm going to, show you guys how to tie all these up. For the purpose of it, we're going to be using, bright green line just so you guys can see it, but we're going to talk about, what I actually use in the setups. We're going to be showing you guys, my tips and tricks on how to type a bobber dogging setup, a fixed float setup, and then a spinner setup. Now, if you guys know how to do all that, obviously that's good for you. I'm just trying to do this for everybody that wants to learn. Maybe you guys can learn some, tips and tricks if you know how to do all this already. Maybe this can help you guys out. But without further ado, I guess let's go ahead and roll into it. So, first on our list, we have a bobber dogging setup. Now, this is the bobber that you guys are going to want to use. You guys really need to listen to this. This is what I like to use. So whenever I say this is what you're going to want to use, just take that with a grain of salt. This is what I use. I'm kind of stupid. But you guys are going to want to start off with one of these. Obviously, you need beads. If there's going to be a link in the description for the video of everything you need, but just to show you guys again, these are just all I have. We have, dang, I can't grab it. We have your clown color, your basic orange, mottled color, mottled red, stuff like that. This is the type of beads I like to use. Just, super, super simple. You guys are gonna, these are called Czech. I think that's how you pronounce it. Czech. It's Czech, right? That's how you pronounce that country? Czech? Czech Republic? I don't know. Anyway, so they're called Czech seed beads. You guys are going to need some of these. Now, this goes along with the tips and tricks things. You can use regular T-stops to peg your beads, but I like using these, and you guys will see why when we tie it up. I bought this at a craft store. This was $2 and 58 cents for a pack of God knows how many's in there. Versus you can buy 40 of these and it's $10. And you guys are going to see why these are significantly better than the BNR T-stops. For leader, I never use really anything heavier than 12 pound. I always use fluorocarbon. You don't have to use fluorocarbon, but like I said, this is what I like to use. I personally like Gamakatsu or owner hooks. Most of the time I use size 2, unless I'm using 10 millimeter or smaller, then I like to use size 4. And by 10 millimeter, I'm talking about beads. Typically, I fish 12s and 14s. Something new on the market, I forget what these are called. Don't quote me on this, I don't know what they're called. But these are by DRO, Don't Rush Outfitters, and these things are absolutely savage. So you guys can see there, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's you can see the light rolling off it. They're hexagon-shaped beads. Now, versus, this is actually the same color of the DRO bead, but they're pretty much identical colors, but this one's just a regular, soft surface bead. So this is what I think. I think that light and stuff refracts off of these different when it's under the water, which makes the fish want to grab it more. I can tell you, multiple of my fish I've caught this year have came on this exact color bead. So if you see this video, then you obviously know what bead I'm using. I don't really tell many people, but that's what I've been using. Yeah, and that's it. So actually, you guys are gonna need 3-way swivels and Dave's Tingle free weights, or you can use P-Line Dragon Balls, the same thing. But let's go ahead and I'm gonna tie this up, and I'm gonna show you guys just a couple tricks on how to get better success with tying this up. Okay, everybody. So first thing you're gonna want to do is we're gonna just put the bobber stop on first. So I like to use T-stops. I don't know I think I showed this in a video before, but I'm gonna do it again. So you have your T-stop, some scissors. Obviously, right here on the end of it is the little spot that stops the bead. Now, I barely pinch it with your scissors to just kind of cut it really gently. Then you can go ahead and just grab it with your grab the little end of it with your fingers. Use the other side to hold, the back end of it. Grab it and just kind of break it off. So now that you've done that, You're going to go ahead and just take your line. Like I said, for the video purposes, I'm using just this green line. Obviously, this would be your main line off of your rod, you know, coming like off of your spool. This would be your main line. You're going to take it, and on the end of these, there's these little tiny loops. So you take it, and for this purpose, I'm going to get kind of close to it so I can see it. So it's through it, okay? You're going to take it and fold it back over itself and grab like both ends of it into your hand so you've created a loop. Then what I like to do is I slide my hand down my line and I grab the little bobber stop with my fingers, obviously holding the line firm with the rest of your hand. Grab it, grab the little plastic part with your other hand, and then just pull away from each other. And it's going to pull that stop over that loop. You can see the stop's not there anymore, right? It's on my line. So what I'm going to do is keep pulling, and bam. Now my line just came out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it. I now have a bobber stop on my main line. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take your little bead that came in your package. Your brand new bobber, you know, if you don't have a brand new bobber package, you can buy these little beads like separately at the store, and they work pretty good. You're going to go ahead and I got to just kind of show you guys. I can't really see, so I'm going to do it like this. You're going to go ahead and thread that bead. I put it on the end of my line. It's now on my line. Okay. You're going to just, you know, kind of slide that up towards your bobber stop. Then this is part of the tips and tricks things. I like to use a corky. Now you can use anywhere from a small one like this to a big one. You're going to just go ahead, put it on your line. Okay. It's on my line. You're going to just go ahead and slide that up to the bobber stop as well. So we have our bobber stop, our small bead, our corky. You're going to take your bobber now, slide it on. Didn't want to go on. Got that on my line. Okay. Now you're going to take your last bead that came in the package. If I can get it. It's being a pain in the butt. Okay, so you're going to take that bead. Now you're going to put it on your line. I feel like this is kind of running out, but I hope that you guys are, you know, at least watching this for tips and tricks. I'm really struggling today. So now that you got that on your line, you're going to go ahead and take your 3-way swivel with your Dave Stingle Free. You're going to tie it on. Okay, and for knots, I like to do, like, I call it an upgraded clinch knot. I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. You're going to take your line and you're just going to wrap it around itself like, you know, you normally do. I personally do 4. I've heard a lot of people do 8, but I do 4. Okay, you're going to go back through your loop like, you know, just normal clinch knot. But what ends up happening, right, is you create that other loop. You're going to go back.
This is the one you taught me.
It is. You're going to go back through that loop. And what I do is, it's kind of a jumbled mess right now, right? I personally take and cinch it, like while holding all of it together. I cinch it first, let go of my tag, and I just slide it down to the knot, and to the loop on the swivel, and you always get a perfect knot.
Yeah, it's actually really easy because I struggle with this kind of stuff.
Then you could just cut your tag end off. Obviously, if you're at the river, do your best to cut it into your box. I'm in my house, so I'll pick it up eventually. Okay.
Like the other 10,000 lines on the ground.
Yeah. Then, just for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to slide this bobber stop, you know, down to our stop, and we're going to cut this off. So that, you know, this would be obviously your main line connected to your rod. Now we're going to go ahead and make a leader setup, and this is going to be kind of an interesting thing that I think you guys are going to like. Okay, everybody, so I feel really terrible for doing this, but normally you would use your 12-pound, normally you'd use your 12-pound or 15-pound fluoro. Brand is more of a personal preference. I really like this Seagar STS. It's like orange label. It's not red label. I believe it's technically orange label. This has just been the best, you know, what I've used. But you're going to go ahead and take your leader here, and you're going to cut off, you know, just get a good distance. Like, I never tie it the same. I just kind of get a good length there. You're going to just cut that off your spool. Push your spool to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and tie my hook on. Now, a lot of you guys are going to kind of cringe at this, but I don't do egg loops. I have no reason to do egg loops. I don't use bait, so I really don't see any reason for this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go through my hook. Again, we're just doing an upgraded clinch. You're going to just do 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to take that and go back through itself, back through that extra loop you just created, and you're going to cinch that up to your hook. always create a perfect knot. You probably could actually use this leader if you were in like green water conditions. I don't think the fish would really care, okay? So at this point, you have your hook and you have your leader. Now, this is another tip and trick kind of thing, okay? So here, I have one of those little, check seed beads, okay? I don't know if you guys can see that on the tip of my finger, but I have that, okay? You're going to take it, and they're hollow. They're just a little bead. And you're going to put the line through it.
It actually works.
It does. It's really, really effective. Multiple of the fish I've been catching have been on this setup. Others have been on T-stops. But I found that this is the most versatile thing that you can do. So, once you're...
Yeah, you can just get them at, like, Joann's.
Yeah, I think I got mine...
You said Joann's.
I think it was Joann's. So, you're going to want to... With this little thing, this is going to act as your bead stop. Okay? So, you're going to want to put it, that good, 3 finger lengths above your hook there. I'm just holding it on my line. It's, just free sliding. Now you're going to take the other end of your line, the opposite end of the hook, and you're going to go back under and back through the bottom of that bead, okay? I don't know if I can, I don't know any way to show you guys, but at this point, I don't know if you can pick that up, but it's gone back through itself. What I'm going to do is I'm holding that bead the whole time, okay? My little tag end is coming out. This was the end, this is the end that's going through to the hook. So I'm going to take that little end I just stuck through, and I'm going to wrap it around, the other part of the line. And you're just going to go ahead and take it and just pull it tight while holding that bead, because right now you're holding that bead in place. Okay? And sometimes what you got to do is you got to, actually pull it back down, because while you're pulling these knots, it likes to slide up on you. Okay, so at this point, I have pulled that knot. It's called a bead knot. I have pulled it tight to that little bead. You can see that's roughly, 3 finger lengths above my hook. That's what I like to do. A lot of people I hear anywhere from 1 to 4. But I personally do this. I have success with it, okay? Now at this point, you have your little bead knot tied up. We're going to go back to your bobber setup that you have tied off of your fishing rod. Okay, you're going to use the other end of the swivel you haven't tied onto. And again, we're going to be doing another upgraded clinch knot. You're going to go through the eyelet. You're going to take it. You're going to do the 1, 2, 3, 4. Through the loop. Back through itself. And pull tight and cinch. And look at that. 3 perfect knots in a row. That is a beautiful knot. Okay, you're going to take, you're just going to go ahead, snip your tag in. So our bobber is on our rod. We have our leader, our fluorocarbon. So we have fluorocarbon leader. Okay, there's no bead on there. So what I'm gonna now do is pick whatever color I want. Now this bead's really used and beat up, so I'm just gonna use it for the purpose. Okay, these little B&R ones have holes through them. Okay, I can see you guys through that little hole. What I'm gonna do is the holes right here. On the flat side that's looking at you, I'm now going to turn the bead so the point is this way, and I have the spot that hasn't been punctured all the way through yet. I'm going to take the hook, and I'm just going to stick it into the bead and go directly through the bead, okay? And I'm going to try to do my best to come out directly across from where I just stuck that hole. Now, it's pretty difficult, but you can do it. I've just gotten pretty good at it, okay? At this point, I just want you guys to take a look at that. It has been stuck through. Nice. And the hole, you guys can see, is on this side where it goes all the way through. So I went, through the complete opposite side of it, okay? You're going to now take that bead and you're just going to slide it up your line.
And you'll feel it.
Yeah, you feel it kind of,
pop in.
It pops onto that little bead, okay? You now have a perfect little bead setup. But here's the beauty of it. So, right, if I'm going to, and you can use any color beads you want. I just picked orange because they were the ones that looked like they had the smoothest edges, just for, not as much wear and tear on my line. But you can actually pull this bead over it and say you have a different color bead. Well, now it kind of looks like it has a little blood dot on it, because obviously your line would be clear, with the fluorocarbon. So it would look like a little blood dot. But say I'm like, man, I fished this hole, 30 times, and I'm like, man, I haven't got a fish, I haven't gotten a bite, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch beads. So now I just pull this bead off. Bam, goes right back in my box. So what do I want to try? Oh, man, I have these little, I think these are clear drift egg clusters.
That looks weird. This
is going to maybe work for me, okay? So I'm just going to take it. Bam, push it through. take it, slide up, and, you know, feel it. Bam, it just popped right on. And what's cool is the inside of these actually have a little orange egg, and my egg now just made it look even more orange. My little bead, so it looks like it's, you know, got an embryo in there. But that is just, you know, a good way to be versatile and
save money.
Yeah, and you save money, right? But a lot of the time what I like to do is I like to take beads and I put them in a little baggie like this, and I just put them in my pocket. So instead of having to get in my backpack and open this box up, I just have, you know, one of every color in here. And I'm like, oh man, you know, the orange wasn't working, so let's get something that's more, you know, pink or red, and let's try that. Or that wasn't working, so let's do, you know, a DRO hexagon bead, or just whatever. It gives you the versatility to switch to whatever you want to switch to. So that's the bobber dogging setup, and let's go ahead and jump into another setup. Okay, everybody, so the next thing we're going to go over is doing a fixed float setup. Now, tips and tricks portion, don't have to listen to me. That's what I like to do. I always use these. Okay. I like to say these actually were just sitting in the drawer because I don't use them. This is worst case scenario backup. I always use 1/4 ounce jig heads. These unfortunately are 1/8 ounce jig heads. I feel like a complete idiot, but these are 1/8 ounce jig heads. I always use 1/4. I like to use little cheap fixed floats. There's really no reason to buy an $8 float. You don't catch any more fish. Personally, I've caught more fish on these little, these are $2.79 for a pack of 2 than I have with anything else, and they hold up just as good. You know, you get twice as many of the little bands as you do in, you know, another thing. So that's what I like to use. I can cast them just as far, less wind drag, all that good stuff.
Do the other ones have clear bottoms?
They do not. They are usually one solid color, whether it be black, white, whatever.
So probably the clear bottom catches you more fish.
Could be. I've caught a lot of fish in really clear water with these. A lot of the time what I like to do, tips and tricks portion of this, I'll use these little things, and I take a small like fine grit sandpaper, or you could even use something like this, and I take it and I'll just scrape off some of the green paint, so there's not as much of, you know, of a solid color on top. A lot of the time, like at least from my point of view, when I look at it, it just looks clear.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll take it, I'll scrape all that off because I only need, you know, that much of it to see it. That's what I like to do. But you're gonna want to either run, if you like to run all mono on your rod, you can. I personally use braid, and I tie a fluorocarbon bumper. Depending on my length of rod, you know, if I'm running a 10-6, I like to run like 9 feet or 10 feet of it, just so I have enough, a little bit above my finger, so I'm holding the braid, not this, you know, when I'm casting. I don't ever use bait casters. If you ever see me use a bait caster, it's because one of my other rods malfunctioned, and
You've used a bait caster?
Not really, though. For salmon fishing, I do. But for steelhead fishing, I always like spinning rods. I don't know why. It's just what I do. But yeah, again, for this, I like to use 12. If you could use 15 just for snagging purposes, I don't personally think it makes that much of a difference. Steelhead, like if you snag a rock, you're not going to break off as easy as with this. With this, you're just going to break your jig right off. And this is kind of my go-to. The pink and white, obviously. I have a whole mess of worm colors in my bag. I have a whole worm bag. You guys saw that, obviously. But I gotta stop rambling. Let's just show you guys what I like to do. So, again, for the purpose of this, we're just going to be using this green line just for visibility purposes for you guys. There we go. I was like, what the hell? It doesn't want to go for me. Okay, so obviously this would be like your fluorocarbon. You know, this would be your fluorocarbon tied off of your rod. So what you're going to do, okay, is you have your little bobber. Take your bands, okay. You're just going to go ahead and put that band on your line. There, you guys can see it's just on there. I'm then going to take my float. I wet the top of it a little bit. It just saves your bands over time. Take your band off the bottom. I'm going to put this on my line again. You guys can see there, it's on my line. I'm going to wet the bottom of that float and slide that band over. Now, these floats are cool, and a lot of people are saying like, oh, you know, none of these other fixed floats on the market are line through. Well, Jebediah, I hate to tell you that, but these...
Jebediah?
I don't know. It's our imaginary person that we talk to on the show. These little super cheap floats have line through, okay? On the bottom of it here, there's a little hole, okay? My hole might be plugged, so I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, no, it's not plugged. So you can take, and you guys can see there, that line is through the bobber. I'm just going to pull it tight. I now have that fixed float on my line. So for some reason, these the line through is if your bands break, you don't, then just your float doesn't just say, okay, see you later, and go down the river. So now that we have our line through, obviously, you know, you could slide that up to 4 feet, 5 feet, whatever you want to do. You're going to go ahead and take one of your jig heads here. And you're gonna, apparently we're going to take all 3 of them out. Don't know why we're doing that. So again, for this, I personally just do the basic upgraded clinch knot. Going to go through it. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through the loop, back through itself. And a lot of the time I would wet my line, so I'll show you guys. Wet your line, cinch it, slide it down. Have you
ever done that to line that's already been in the water?
No. Usually I don't. If I've already fished or I just broke off and I bring it up, I don't.
But what if it's like line that's been used in the water and then dried?
Yeah.
So you're putting your mouth on like dead salmon line?
Probably. I'd like to say I have a bunch of times. Okay, tips and tricks portion. So, here, come closer because I want to show them. So, if you can see the worm, you see how the top of it has the little like ribs on it, and then it has like the collar right there where it's smooth. Okay, so you can kind of pick and choose here. You can kind of match it up. Okay, on there, so you can see. All right, it's really hard to show you guys without like holding it. So you see how like right there where I want that hook to come out on the worm, it's about halfway, almost about halfway through the collar. Okay. So that's where you're going to want to poke your hook through, when you're going through it. Okay. So I'm going to go through the worm. I'm threading it up my line and I'm like, okay, I'm about where I want to be. I can see the hook in there because it's kind of, it's a pearl worm. And I'm going to take it. Okay. And I'm just going to poke it through. Okay. Poked it through. I'm going to take it, and bam, I'm sliding it up, and bam, look at that. That is a perfect way to, put your worm on your hook. And I hear a lot of people I see it a lot on like, the Facebook posts, and people are always like, oh, I can't use jig heads without worm keeps. My worms always just are sliding, always sliding. You're just not putting it on your hook right. You have to find that perfect. I mean, I'm honestly going to I'm pulling pretty hard. Like, I'll really show you. It doesn't slide. Look how much it slid, and I just broke my worm. So again, I don't really care. I'm doing this for the purpose of the video. But look how hard I just pulled on it, and all these people are like, oh, it slides back on my hook, and you just have to poke it through on the perfect spot for it to work. Was it recording? Did you pause?
Well, you got your phone said 20%.
Oh,
I don't think it stopped recording because it's still recording.
I was looking at it like, were we not recording that whole time? But yeah, that's that's what I like to show for you guys. We'll do it again. Okay, this worm has been ripped. Obviously, you guys can see that. I'm going to take it. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to look at it and be like, okay, so it's, I want to poke out right there. I just marked my spot. Okay. I'm going to go put it right through the middle of the hook. Kind of finesse its way on there. And I want to go out right there. Bam. I poked it out. And look at that. Another absolutely perfect thing. And again, not really coming off. I'm just showing you guys because I always hear these people that are like, I can't cast, but it's not always about the angle of the dangle or something.
What?
I don't know. Just insert intelligent quote. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the last setup of the day for you guys. Okay, everybody. So we're on to the last little section now. I don't really know what tips and tricks I can give to you guys on this, but we're going to go for it anyways. So if you guys want to come over here and take a look at my spinner box, I don't really have a lot. I really have like a couple personal brands that I like. Obviously, your R&B, like a steelhead slammer would pretty much be the same thing. Blue Foxes. I don't spinner fish a lot, like I said, so I don't have a ton of gear. But, Blue Foxes, pretty much your pinks, your greens, blue, purple, obviously, anything like that. Anything with a chrome blade. I've been seeing all these companies lately, they're making, weird stuff like this with colored blades. I personally don't like colored blades. I just think they really suck. absolute trash. I was using another company.
The light doesn't reflect off.
Yeah,
of
the light doesn't reflect. I was using another company, but I've since stepped away from that. They just didn't catch enough fish for me. I caught a couple fish, but immediately threw a blue fox in the hole with a chrome blade, and since, you know, caught a lot of fish. But pretty much with this, I like to use these little P-line swivels. That's all I use. They're super cheap. They're like $3 for an 8-pack or whatever. That's what I like to use. A lot of like these steelhead slammers and stuff like that, they already have you know, swivels on them, so you don't necessarily have to. I personally just double swivel. I don't really care. I like to be able to switch in and out. So we already have a swivel on this spinner, as you can see. A black on black actually can sometimes be really effective for steelhead because it imitates like a leech pattern. Okay, everybody, sorry for the interruption. My dog was a savage. So we're using this line again. I always use fluorocarbon when I'm tying my spinners. I like to carry a rod that's usually all the way loaded up. I don't usually like doing the whole bumper thing. I like to have something that's either loaded all the way up. And I don't think it's too key on whether it's fluoro or mono. I personally load my whole reel up with fluorocarbon, but I've caught fish using just mono too. So you're going to take it, and this is just a basic clinch knot, obviously. 4 wraps. That might have been 5. Not very good at counting. Go through, back through itself, cinch it tight, and pull it down to itself. Yeah, I think that was 5 because it doesn't want to pull down on itself. Okay, it's down on itself there. Go ahead and cut your tag end off. Okay, and that is pretty much it. But like I said, I guess the tip and trick for this would be like use chrome blades. Chrome blades is a huge thing. You know, like I was saying,
because the light reflects off them, and the colored blades, it doesn't really reflect.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect, and it just, they look like poop. I mean,
and it confuses the fish.
You know,
almost.
if you see like any of the good spinner companies, everything they sell, like I'm not talking like your little podunk thing. A real spinner company, a real spinner maker that's not trying to catch fishermen, they use stuff with chrome blades. You know, and they have like a couple, you know, little different things, but it's primarily chrome. Body color, you know what? I just think that it's the flash flying by the fish at Mach 10 that just pisses them off and makes them want to eat it. Or strike it, you know. But with the other blade, they just look at it, they're like, oh, it looked like a stick going by me, or
a leaf.
Or a piece of trash, you know, or something. And they're like, yeah, I'm not eating that. Versus this looks like a bait fish or something. But that is everything that's going to do it for this video. If you want to see anything else, please comment down below really quick. Super low-key spinner that's really good are Steelhead by Buds. I've used them before. These are actually from my $50 challenge. They were pretty good. So, yeah, I guess that's just what we're going to leave you guys with. If you want to see anything else, make sure, like I said, you do comment down below. If there's any other like tutorials that you'd like to see more in depth or anything like that, drop a comment, and I guess go out and catch some fish. Stay fishy. I love you guys. I'll see your faces on the next episode. Peace out.